Oh, hey there, Sigvald. Looks like you made some new friends, eh? You gonna introduce me? Anyway, I don't know what that was. Here's Styrkaar. He's the Pleasure Seeker character, except he's immortal, and the Pleasure Seekers are demons. He is available to the Demons of Chaos, or the Warriors of Chaos. Pleasure Seekers, I think, are on demons only. Well, of course, and on Slaanesh, but yeah, a little bit odd in that way. But at least you get the steed as a character mount option for a couple of different characters, including Styrkaar, who, yeah, well, I didn't take any of his special abilities. We'll talk more about that after. I did take him on the mount, and he's relatively cheap for how great his stats are. He's getting a little bit of extra melee defense from the Supreme Vanity, which I believe is from Sigvald. Anyway, or no, from the Mirror Guard. That's right. It's kind of their like Guardian deal. But yeah, he's got really good stats overall for super fast speed. Not the most HP, but just kind of a, yeah, just a nice fast duelist. And then of course we've got the Chaos Sorcerer up on the steed mount as well to give him some armor piercing damage and some better melee capabilities. Incredible speed, also with evasion up to 110. Absolutely amazing. Backed up by the Mirror Guard, and then we've got a couple of champions of Slaanesh here, the Pleasure Guard and the regular champions, Marauders, and I do have one unit of Bearmen. Now, I don't know if I like this. I think that the Bearmen should not be available for Warriors of Chaos and should only be available for Norsca. The Warriors of Chaos don't really need them. They have Chaos Warriors for mid-tier infantry, as it says on the tin. And the Bearmen, I feel like it kind of cheapens Norsca's identity a little bit to have them on Warriors of Chaos. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I don't know if that will change necessarily between now and release. It's possible it will, I guess, but I think I probably wouldn't even use them very much on Warriors of Chaos roster. But we are against Norsca, where they belong, and my opponent here, HTS, did bring a couple of Marauder Bearmen up front, supported by this great Shaman Sorcerer on his War Shrine Mammoth mount. Yeah, Caster Lord with Lore of Metal on a Mammoth. Very cool. He's also got some pretty decent items for extra spell mastery in a short burst, one-time use. Pop off like a big old final transmutation or something. And then we've got Beorg. He's the Bear Man, not to be confused with Bear Men, but he is the Werebear. Yeah, look at those dreadlocks. Or braids even. Yeah, super cool. Guardian passive, of course he's got regeneration, also comes with potion of toughness, anti-large. He's got this war cry, which is a little AoE buff, a little bit tricky to use because it only activates when he's charging, but it gives the standard 24 attack and defense with some leadership. Yeah, then the Bear Men, we've also got the Cursed Etin. We've looked at this in a previous replay, but if you didn't see it, basically it's got these two passives, one heals, and the Rune Caller actually slightly different passives, but the point is one of them heals when it's below 50% HP. This one actually gives power recharge and reserves, which is really interesting actually. So there's a way maybe to just farm power reserves by throwing this thing in and having it take a bunch of damage early. And then with its above 50% passive, the Rune Caller negates magical weapons within 20 meters, so it gives some synergy with Norsca's physical resistance on a lot of their units. He's also got Bound Flock of Doom, Bound Enfeebling Foe, and Bound Doom and Darkness. A couple of Marauder Spearmen, a couple of Skin Wolves. We've got some Norscan Ice Wolves, more Skin Wolves, and the Beast of Tashnar. So, get things rolling here as my Marauder Horsemen do some skirmishing early. Yeah, it's going to be quite the character mashup to see. I mean, both my hero and my caster count as large, as do these champions of Slaanesh, so Beorg definitely has some different targets to choose. But let's see what he will. Yeah, Styrkaar, interesting character. Let's see what he can do also. We're gonna zoom in close. He brings his banner in. It's tactful Beorg. We're going to go a little 2v1 here. You see the Bound Enfeebling Foe get popped by the Rune Caller as well. Even out the fight a little bit, but even still, Beorg is going to get Soporific Musked and attacked. We're going to throw Enfeebling Foe on him because I took Lore of Shadows, not Lore of Slaanesh. Yeah, anyway. And then get things rolling out on the flanks. champions are supported by Marauders, trying to go after his mobility, chase down those hounds and just annihilate them in melee, especially the Beast of Tashnar, counting as infantry. These champs of Slaanesh who disappear when I get too close, so we'll watch a little bit of a distance as they attack the canid beasts of Norsca. And here in the center, the Monster Mash. Oh yeah, let's get in and watch up close. Beorg fighting the snake characters, we'll call them. Those mounted on demonic steeds. Javelins flying in. We're going to see that Bound Flock of Doom do some nice damage to the Mirror Guard. Yeah, the Skin Wolves took a pretty nasty engagement there, though. Do Mirror Guard actually have magic damage? They do, so they'll cut through straight through that physical resistance, unless the Rune Caller is nearby, of course. But the Sorcerer on my side took a beating there from those big, heinous single entities. He was sent packing, but then the Marauder Horseman screens, able to bring him back. Styrkaar also, you know, having his bread buttered, so to speak. Gonna throw another enfeebling foe, swing up and around, and try and maybe charge in again. Ooh, yeah, the final transmutation popping. Want no part of that, so I'm gonna keep him away and just let Sigvald and the champs eat that. Pleasure Guard in particular is going to be a really nice unit for him to cast that on. And he used a Power Familiar for it, and it is Overcast, yeah. So going for maximum value, just absolutely deleting my most expensive unit, which did a pretty good amount of damage to them. I don't know if that item is actually worth it at the end of the day. I mean, I guess we could do some testing and see, like, difference in value casting it, you know, on some different spells. But, like, in theory, that big final transmutation, especially if we would have been able to get both my other characters in there, that would have been real nasty. Real nasty. But Steed of Slaanesh allows them to reposition and get away. That's one of the main benefits of it, so I can try and avoid getting hit by that. Sigvald on his own 2 feet, of course, is just going to eat it and then regenerate, but he's fine to do that. Mirror Guard are holding as well with their immune psychology. With a Bound Flock of Doom to punish them. And I talked a little bit about this in one recent video, but the Etten seems to have much faster attack animations than the Giant. Like, I haven't actually sat down with the stopwatch and timed it, but just still suffers from a little bit of stutter stepping and jank. Just in general, it seems like the attack animations are a little bit faster. And how much damage has he actually done so far? Oh, that's Skin Wolves. The Rune Caller. I don't know if I can get his unit card to stick here. Yeah, not that much, actually, so animations look nice. I don't know if he's really doing a lot right now, but Beorg's gonna charge in once more. The Javelin's definitely been punishing the Great Shaman Sorcerer pretty heavily, and just trying to keep them away from the Skin Wolves and the Ice Wolves for the time being. One unit did get eaten up, but we still got a few more here riding free. And the champs moving in. Balance power is not really looking in my favor right now, but little enfeebling foe on the cursed Etten. As we charge him with Styrkaar, and the caster also moving in. Got a handful of champs moving in. Yeah, brutal brawl of Marauders. Definitely pleases Khorne at the very least. But quite a bit of pain involved. I guess also pleases Slaanesh. The Pleasure Guard here, countering once more. It's interesting, just the champs of Slaanesh in general against the Skin Wolves. Skin Wolves actually probably trade decently cost effectively because they're anti-large and they're higher numbers. But ultimately, the Pleasure Guard were able to kind of win out. It helps. Definitely the Red Runner now has magic attacks. I believe the base version does not. We'll check that after the fact. But anyway. Yeah, it moves in once more. Styrkaar, you can see looking up like, oh no. Just to get some perspective here, a little Searing Doom from the Shaman Sorcerer. One of those hits one of Etten's heads. And Styrkaar's not feeling too hot. He has taken a lot of damage at this point, so wouldn't be surprised if he just gets clobbered by the Giant, or the Etten here, and gives it up. Or maybe Beorg will finish him off, perhaps. Right now his melee defense is holding. But yeah, Beorg, you can see with that that Warcry passive popping again, also hits all these Marauders to give them a nice juicy buff as they fight to the bitter end here. The Norscan loyal Bearmen showing that they belong on the Norscan roster, not on Warriors of Chaos. But yeah, you see the floating swords of the champs in here as well. They're kind of all focused on this one side of the engagement where they can actually fight the monsters, which is nice for me. I don't have any of them wasting time fighting bear men. Instead, they're fighting the man bear, who is actually killing them as well with his own anti-large bonus. But all the while, Sigvald is doing his thing, just bumping and grinding and dirty dancing in the infantry fight. Having a grand old time, absorbing damage and dealing it. Ooh, it's nice. Little thrust there on Beorg. From an outside perspective, it's going pretty well in my favor. We've been able to pretty much finish off Beorg here. The Eden also is getting very low, and its self-healing isn't enough to sustain it in this fight. Once I got a 3v2 here, I mean, especially with Sigvald having just amazing self-healing and being incredibly tanky, ends up with me taking the victory. But definitely a close one for sure. Definitely a fun one. Interesting to see, yeah, kind of how these different things will perform on Warriors of Chaos. Styrkaar seems decent. We'll check his cost after the fact if I can remember to do that. But, yeah, I mean, the Chaos Sorcerer also, nice to have a monstrous mount for him, as it is for the other Monogods casters. You know, how much use will they actually see? I think probably a decent amount. You do see the Nurgle ones a decent amount, depending on the matchup and the character. The horse mounts are also used quite a bit as well, just for their cost efficiency, but sometimes you want a little bit of extra punching power, just to be able to support those melee engagements, and Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Shadows did a pretty good job of that. Also casting some no-cost Mystifying Miasma, but mostly just Enfeebling Foe and fighting in melee. Sigvald also gets some pretty good value in that grind. Bearmen, another replay where they don't do a ton, to be honest, at the end of the day, but, you know, they're a nice option to have, and I do think they should stay on the Norscan's roster. Marauder Horseman, definitely a bright spot for me. I was able to defend fairly well against the Skinwolves. Honestly, just sending the champions out there to deal with the Skinwolves did relatively well. The one champion didn't quite pay for themselves. They're decently expensive, but yeah, in fact, let's just go ahead and go to the Warriors of Chaos roster in just a second, actually. We'll take a look at Beorg. His anti-large and abilities allows him to pay for himself, also fighting my horse characters and everything else. Wasn't quite able to carry the win. Great Shaman Sorcerer also up on the Mammoth. It's pretty expensive. He doesn't quite pay for himself there, but gets some pretty respectable value regardless. Yeah, one of the Skinwolves, a couple of the Skinwolves do okay, a couple of them are a little more limited, and then the Etten Rune Collar, as much as I really want to like this thing, I mean, it was fighting in melee for quite a bit of time there and didn't pay for itself, so I don't know, maybe there's some issue with its faster attack animations. As much as I was extolling them being faster, I don't know, maybe there's some issue with the hitbox there specifically, but let's quickly just touch on Warriors of Chaos and what they get from the DLC. So, obviously you get the new generic Chaos Lord of Slaanesh. Oh, no, wait, we already had the Lord of Slaanesh. That's right. It's the Sorcerer Lord of Slaanesh that we didn't have. Very, very important. Yeah, he's here. He's got the steed. He's got this Hex Black Tongue that's a single target silence, which I think I forgot to talk about when I showcased him in a video recently. But it is a definitely useful ability. Silences are always nice to have. Of course, Lord of Slaanesh, Lord of Shadows, got his Paragon of Excess little debuff as well. So it's an option for you to take, which is always nice. Yeah, as you saw there, Styrkaar. They also do get Beorg, which again, I think Beorg really should be Norsca only. Definitely should not be on Warriors of Chaos roster. That's just my opinion. You guys feel free to disagree, but Styrkaar, we can actually look at both of them. But we'll look at Styrkaar first. So again, I didn't take any of his abilities there just for cheapness, and at 1450, I mean, 60 melee defense, not the best melee attack, but he does have 100 speed and 60 charge bonus, so he can activate that charge bonus a lot. It has a nice missile block chance. 500 damage with good armor piercing. I mean, pretty potent horse character for not too much of a cost. His special abilities, Glorious Slaughter, it's a passive only when enemies are routing in range. I'm not the biggest fan of these because pursuit behavior is kind of not great. And it's a little bit situational, especially for how much you're paying for it. Foe-Seeker, Deadly Onslaught, you know and love. Demonic Whispers gives another unit Fear and Terror, so It's essentially like kind of like Aspect of Dread Knight, like you can activate a terror, a unit that doesn't have terror, try and cause a terror rout. Also gives leadership to that unit as well, so they're less likely to rout. Castable at range, only 26-second duration, and has to be used on a unit with Mark of Slaanesh, importantly, so it matters for Warriors of Chaos at least. You're going to be using him here. He also has Chaos Armor. This is the one that where I would probably consider taking this, even Demonic Whispers, maybe, if I don't have any other sources of terror, but that seems pretty unlikely with how Warriors of Chaos are right now. This is one mostly, I mean, missile block chance. How dangerous is small arms fire to horse characters, especially ones of this speed? Probably not that dangerous, but this is one I might consider. Extra 20 missile block chance on 55 gives him 75% missile block chance passively, which is hilarious. Sign of Depravity. Again, leadership wavering is a little bit less painful than leadership routing, but even still kind of situational. It is a huge speed buff for himself and all allies, which I don't know. Can they even go that fast? Can they get to 175 speed? Inquiring minds want to know, but I don't know if it'll see a ton of use. I don't know. Could be wrong on that. It does have a melee defense debuff component as well for your opponents, but if your opponent's units are already wavering, do you really need to win more? Seems like a win more, potentially, situation. Beorg is here. He's got Guardian, Thrill of Battle, as we saw there. Warcry, or did we see this Thrill of Battle? Anyway, he gets up to extra 24 melee defense the more time he spends in battle. Might be worth taking that one, although he does get pretty expensive pretty quickly. He's also got Potion of Toughness for even more extra healing. And the Bearfang Talisman, 40% damage resistance is quite a bit. Only 22-second duration on a 90-second cooldown, though, is tricky for sure. I don't know how much actual benefit you're going to get from this. But his base cost is not too much, only 1,300. He's got anti-large, kind of okay combat stats. His defense, his attack actually in particular, is kind of shockingly low for his unit type. But, yeah, I guess if I flip over to the Norsca roster, I can show you. Real quick, though, just to finish up with Warriors of Chaos, they do get the Champs of Slaanesh, as we've discussed. Anti-infantry, monstrous infantry, fast, hard-hitting. The Regiment of Renown's Unbreakable actually gets 20 extra weapon strength and 10 extra charge bonus as well, plus that Unyielding Assault, plus, Unbreakable. So the Regiment of Renown in particular, only 200 gold for that upgrade seems quite cheap considering how much you're getting out of it. But, yeah, I mean, Warriors of Chaos have quite a few elite good units. Notably, you don't get the Pleasure Seekers. So that's a little bit painful, but then the Manticore, the Chimera, it's like the upgraded Manticore now. You get this thing as well, which is nice. Your only access to breath attacks previously was from dragons, so now you have something else that can do breath attacks, besides just the Chaos Dragon Lords. Yeah, and then for Norsca, just one more quick kind of comparison here. As we think about Beorg. And you've got Scylla here as well, which is, you know... Scylla has more overall weapon strength and is more of an offensive profile, but less armor and melee defense, and Scylla is also unbreakable, which is an important consideration, and does not have passive healing. But the other important comparison I wanted to make is to the Werekin, which, to be fair, Werekins already don't see that much use. They picked up Colossal Strike, which is pretty nice, but yeah, 200 gold difference between these two. Beorg is definitely better. He is slower, though, by a fair bit, which I found kind of surprising. So, I don't know. Beorg, jury's out on him. He did well in this battle, but I'm not 100% sure if he'll be a super reliable character to use. I mean, yeah, he's got way more melee defense than the Werekin, but actually less melee attack, so... interesting. A little bit more of a defensive profile, a little bit slower, but the speed thing is definitely quite painful, especially in like domination or other situations where you're really relying on that mobility. It definitely can be tough. So hopefully you guys learned something, hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.